Hey, sweetheart. We've got a new track from our stock operator and Money Mythos series. This one is The Ballad of Daniel Drew, a country folk track, and a reprise to the Golden Fist track. We're making some music to go with the books and stories and characters we get into. This one is more narrative. It tells the story of Daniel Drew, the famous Great Bear of Wall Street, who probably had the longest sustained track record of success among the old manipulators, and lost it all. Classic Money Mythos story. If you're here for the audiobook, check out our 50 Years in Wall Street with Kenny Polcari collection on Spotify. If you like the track, you can get The Ballad of Daniel Drew from the Antediluvian on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your music. Buon appetito.
It started in the mud of the Henry Esther's yard, where the price of a steer was heavy and hard. Daniel watched the clouds, he watched the thirsty herd, and he realized a prophet was just a salted word. He kept them off the water for 2 days and a night, until their ribs were showing and their throats were tight. Then he led them to the creek right before the scale and sold 1,000 pounds of water in a cattle sale. It's just wait, he whispered to the butcher's face, while the first black seed of greed took its place. He traded in a saddle for a broadcloth coat, and he learned to make the railroad paper float. He took the Erie line and he printed up the ghost, feeding shares to Vanderbilt like a Sunday roast. The Commodore was buying, thinking he'd won the prize, but Daniel had the printing press hiding from his eyes. Watered stock, the city screamed, a scandal in the street, but Drew just sat in church and occupied his seat. He bought a seminary, built it brick by holy brick, to wash away the salt water of the cattle trick. Daniel Drew, the Great Bear, on the rise, with a Methodist prayer and a predator's eyes. He says, I built the house of God with a gambler's hand. I salted every acre of this green and pleasant land. He fed the poor on Sunday, bled them dry on Monday noon, drowning in the water of his own damn lagoon. The warrants were signed and the law was at the door, but Daniel had a suitcase and a plan for war. $7 million in a bag of stained leather. He crossed the dark Hudson in the freezing weather, in a rowboat in the fog, looking back at the lights, hiding in a Jersey hotel through the shivering nights. He sat in the Taylor house, counting out the take, while the Erie War was burning for a hollow stake. He brought in Jay Gold, he brought in Jim Fisk. He taught him how to manage every predatory risk. He thought they were his sons, he thought they were his kin, but they were only sharks waiting for the rot within. In 1870 they turned the master's blade. They caught him in a corner of a bear raid he'd made. They locked the float on Erie, they spiked the price to 10, and Daniel found no mercy from his holy young men. The panic hit the street like a hammer on a nail, and the watered king found his credit was for sale. The seminary's endowment, it was only Daniel's note, and when the man went under, the school began to float. No more millions in the suitcase, no more salt within the bin, just a ledger full of losses and the weight of every sin. Now he's 82 years old in a room on Union Square, with the smell of old paper and a winter in the air. He doesn't have a carriage, he doesn't have a cent, just the memory of the millions and the way they went. He remembers the cattle drinking deep at the shore, and he wonders if the water's coming back for more. He checks the ticker tape, but the tape is running white, just a long blank ribbon disappearing in the night. The bell rings out, the amen fades, as Daniel Drew is buried in the debt he made. Lost his shirt, lost his name, just a handful of salt in a pouring rain, in a pouring